warn you guys that I'm just doing this off the top of my head because I cannot sit and write the script for the life of me unless it's for music. But I have been playing Postman since season 14. I have mained him since season 14 and I absolutely adore him. I know that he's not as meta as he used to be, but he still holds a place in my heart, and I just wanted to give y'all like a rundown of how he works. Even though I wasn't there from the very beginning of his release, I was pretty much there a little bit after he released, so I think it still counts. I'll go ahead and just simply condense his abilities first. His first trait, he can essentially carry about 6 letter types. When you send out a letter, there's about a 60-second cooldown when you send it to another person, because when you send a buff, they get that buff and you get that buff as well. But if you send it to only to yourself, that's a 90-second cooldown. I'll go ahead and condense these letters as much as possible because I don't want to have to read them too much, because I'm almost positive I'm dyslexic. Urgent is to give people extra speed for a few seconds. I recommend using that if you're in the middle of chase. Do that right after someone's picked up off a chair if you know for a fact they're not going to get down, but I'd only do that if the person who's rescued has tied, because that just makes it 10 times easier. It's also good for escaping chase game. So even though it's kind of hard to see it, I'll try to put a thing up on screen for it. But yeah, urgent is for speed. Bravery is more or less for rescue. It's a bit harder to explain, but it increases rescue speed, and it increases movement speed for 10% for 180 seconds when nearing a rocket chair. So essentially, if you're close to a rocket chair, you're a little bit faster for a decent amount of time, and you rescue basically just as fast as a rescuer, so that's pretty good. Tranquility, I feel like this is the one Postman send out the most, especially in rank matches or traditional matches, aside from inspiring, which I'll get to later. Tranquility is for decoding. Strictly decoding. Do not send tranquility to someone if they are not decoding, because at that point you're just wasting it and using it on yourself. Just gonna put that plainly out there. So yeah, it increases your decoding speed by 10% for 30 seconds. So if you're a decoder and Postman sends you tranquility, then that honestly gives you like a really good start. Also gives you a really good start for composer too. It's just really good. I'll give them a rank a little bit later. Inspiring is basically just knee-jerk. It increases all vaulting speed by 10% upon use. It does not go away until it is used. So if somebody has knee-jerk and you give them inspiring, which is something I do a lot, especially for Helena, who's one of the slowest vaulters in the game, it doesn't go away. So you have your normal knee-jerk, and then you have inspiring. Whenever you use your whenever you vault, your inspiring is used before the knee-jerk. I'm pretty sure. I'll put a thing up screen if it is. Farewell is essentially the same thing, just a little more complicated, and I haven't really looked into it as much as I should have back in season 14. So essentially it's inspiring, but upon use you will get 40% speed for 3 seconds directly after you vault, and it can only be used one time. And again, it's used well no, let me say this. It's inspiring, but you get a big speed boost for 3 seconds, and you use that after knee jerk. So for all the vaulting ones, knee jerk first, and then the letter. Okay. And then for hope, I love using hope. Hope is really good on a 2-man comm. Me and my friend do a 2-man a lot, and so especially when we're playing quick matches, and I'm not a survivor main, so I hate randoms, and they hate randoms too. So what I would normally do is, if we can secure a tie, I send them hope, and once I see the dungeon, if I need to help somebody else, I'll take the hope off of me and just send the letter to somebody else, because at that point I should be able to identify where dungeon is, wherever the map is. And honestly, even though you should know all of the dungeon places in general, I'd say as a postman, you need to know where all of the dungeons are, because even though hope is one of the lesser use letters, it's still good to know where each one is, so you don't have to send yourself a letter at the end of the match when you could send yourself urgent to get there quicker. Plain, simple, easy. So yeah, to go over it, urgent strictly for chase. Farewell and inspiring both increase vaulting speed, except farewell gives you a speed boost for 3 seconds directly after. Both have a lower priority than knee jerk. And if I'm wrong for inspiring, I'll put it up on the screen. Bravery strictly for rescuing. Don't give it to someone if they're not going to rescue. Otherwise, you could have just sent someone tranquility. And hope is for dungeon. Only use it at endgame. If you're on comms, send it to someone. Send it to your comm friend. It's literally 10 times as easy. And then you could just wipe it off of you directly after. And I know that the way you do it has been changed. I'll put up the difference on screen, hopefully, because when he was first released prior to season, I want to say season 28 or 26, it went from being a scroll thing on the side where you drag it to the left of the ability button to you dragging it directly on their status icon, which when I first saw this threw me in a loop because at that point I haven't played Identity D in like 5 months. But it's really simple, it's really easy. I'll go over it, just give me a second. And later on, after his release, he had Wick from his lore added to his kit. And so essentially the dog is what sends out the letters. It takes about maybe, it depends on how far they are. It can range from like 1 second to maybe like 6 seconds at most for Wick to send a letter to someone. It just depends on the distance. So if you're on if you're on Shack at Scarlet and somebody's in the ruined parts near that one secluded chair area near the gate, that alone would probably take maybe like 7 seconds. But if you were like right next to someone and you were sending them urgent in the middle of a chase, that would take only a second. And then there's delay time for them to show up the message on screen, which everybody can see, and then you're good. But they added something that's really good for Kynifer's kit, and I use this every single time I'm in chase because it is just so good and it slows them down so much. The dog, if you can aim the dog at the hunter and it will pounce on them and it will slow them down by 35% for 5 seconds, which is really good, especially if you're trying to delay and give people a chance to prime a cipher. But if the dog hits them, it'll be down for 45 seconds. So it's pretty much a little under your letter cooldown. That's like 15 seconds under your letter cooldown. But if you miss, it only goes down for 16. Now, keep in note that whenever you do use pounce, that does affect your letter. So, okay, no, I'll explain it later when I put it up on screen. In his lore, too, I'll go over that as well. Victor is not a social person, though he is an empath, which is kind of funny, because how are you antisocial and you're an empath? Guys, that's literally me. But when he sends a letter, it makes him really happy, because he likes sending people letters, even though he never really receives them back. The only letter he's received back was literally from the manor, and that literally baited him to go to the manor. Also, he works at the manor, which is kind of funny, and they try to kill him after they get the policeman in the fire. I sped through that. I'll slow down. But yeah, like I said before, if you send somebody a buff, you get the same buff. But if you send a buff to yourself, it prolongs your cooldown by like, I want to say 10%. But it's only like 30 seconds. And then expectation, he can peek at a letter. That's literally it.
That's it, literally. A little bit of money.
I'll go over this pretty quick like I did for Nightmare, but his model is a bit more grungy because this is more in like the mid-modern era of Identity V before they started getting really, really detailed designs. So yeah, we have Wick right there with the letter, the dog he saved in the fire. There's him looking at letters and stuff. Just being all nice. He was friends with the policemen and stuff. I had to look back at a video for him because it's been so long since I looked at his lore. Yeah, he was friends with the policeman, and he was a postman for what was seen as the mafia. He worked for Big Daddy. Which I guess is the mafia boss or something. And they had noticed that he was getting a little too friendly with the policeman, and you know what they decided to do? They killed him with fire. Just like he did for Wick, and he got Wick out of the fire, and they wanted to basically beam him from the whole system, but they were like, I feel like they would notice that we killed him and connected to the fire. So then they were like, nah, we'll keep you alive. And then he ran away. He was like, oh, jolly good boy, I don't want to be here anymore. I gotta find a job. I gotta send letters. But when working with the mafia, because basically what he was pretty much sending was blackmail, I'm assuming. He liked seeing the reaction of people sending letters, so he decided to keep doing his job as a postman, but at a different place. He also got a letter from Aesop through his traumatic experiences, and he was like, and since Aesop sees saving people as killing them and putting them in graves, he said the same thing to Victor. He was like, oh, you're so nice, I think you would look really good in the cover. He's like, boo, like, I'm not going in there. So yeah, and then later on down the line, he got a letter from the manor and was baited to go to the manor, yada yada yada. That's good. I'm gonna show you his files because it's good to show Survivor files. Let me look at your traits. Running speed and stuff is the same as every Survivor, though keep in mind he is strictly, I wouldn't say strictly, but primarily a support. Although he can kite decently and he can decode pretty well, at no point should you rescue unless it's necessary. I've made that mistake several times, and I learn as I rewatch stuff I've recorded. So I do highly recommend just doing strictly support. Keep in mind as postman, you are the background. You are the background character. Even though you may want to go out and do a 5 cypher kite like I did one time, you are strictly support and a little bit of kiting. Your main game should be sending letters as you're decoding, and the only time you should ever do anything aside from sending letters while decoding is if you're in chase, but even then you can still send tranquility letters in chase, and that's exactly what you're supposed to do. And then you can throw Wick directly after and try to prolong chase, but you are not a rescuer. I repeat, you are not a rescuer. You have a role, you fulfill that role. Background, support, send letters while decoding, doesn't matter what the letter is, and if you need to boost yourself near the end of the game, do it with urgent, or if you're on comms, send hope to your friends, whether you have a 3-man or a 2-man for a draw. Yeah, simply as put as. I'm also gonna go ahead and show you his abilities in custom script. Oh, no build, I don't think. Oh yeah, I'll go over this now. This is the main build you should use. I'll take a picture of it and put it on screen later and go over it, but because I don't want Identity B to be me, we're just gonna go into. Okay, we spawned in a custom script. I'm gonna go ahead and show you. So right here, immediately, hold on, let's turn them off. We have 3 letters at the bottom of the screen. We have, I believe, that's farewell, tranquility, and inspiring. I'm sorry, I'm like butchering it really bad. And you can switch the letters like this. Back then, you used to have to click this and drag it on the side right here. But say I'm decoding a second one, yada 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 yada, and I see that the killer is somewhere back there. Oh yeah, she's literally right there. So what I can do is, while I am decoding, say that somebody is on a cipher or something. I can go ahead and, well yeah, let's just do this. I can send it in the middle of chase. Now this is a plot, so I think it should be pretty okay. This is a really bad thing, I would not do this. Go to the dog. See how that slows her for a few seconds? And now while I'm in chase, I can just continue just cheesing her. It's a bot, so it's really easy to kite. And even though you are not decoding, at a minimum, I'm gonna say this, at a minimum, you're all the other people decode. Don't double decode in the first part, by the way. That is really stupid. Now I'm gonna send it to Doctor again. And watch the speed. You notice how it's much faster because both of us with Tranquility are on the cipher? Yeah. Okay. I'll also turn it back on again just so she can come over here. I'll also show you urgent, so you see right here, I'm gonna send mercenary urgent. Watch his speed. His speed increases. It's like really hard to see, but as long as you're paying attention, you should be perfectly fine. Do not drop the pallet in front of me, you freak. I forgot that boss can blink. I don't even know what happened. So yeah, I showed you Tranquility. Now I'm gonna show you Inspiring. So you see how I have Knee Jerk up at the top right here. It's basically the same as Vaulting Windows. Well, Knee Jerk pallets and windows. So this one is strictly for everything. So I want you to watch my Knee Jerk up top. It uses, okay, so I was wrong. It uses your base kit Knee Jerk first. And so we're going to go, and then again for urgent, it makes you just ever so slightly faster. I'm gonna let it run out. I'm gonna run in a straight line. And it's gonna go on cooldown. There is a very slight change in speed. And now I'm gonna show you Farewell. So Farewell is a little more tricky because it has a cooldown. Farewell is mainly for Windows, so you can use that right then and there. It uses my Knee Jerk first, and then it uses the ability. So yeah, they're basic. Inspiring and not Tranquility. Inspiring and Farewell are kind of similar. It's just Farewell is kind of easier to use. And I'm also going to send out, because Inspiring to myself, I'm going to make everybody decode so I can, hold on, actually, I lied. Let me turn them off. This woman, okay. I'm just going to go ahead and, I'm going to show you the decoding speed comparison. So here's that without Inspiring. Just a basic normal thing. I'm gonna keep it. It's just ever so slightly faster. And I'm gonna send one to Doctor. There we go. And if I look around, you see a yellow highlight for where dungeon should be. Like I said, I only recommend doing this if you know that it's either going to be a draw, a dungeon escape, or just anything of the sort, because US Postman can easily. I'll show two really good examples of Postman use, both a really good Postman kite and just a really good Postman support. This was a match. We had a Postman, a Prospector, Little Girl, and Puppeteer, so PPPL, I guess. I had spawned near Shack, and since she was on the cipher, I decided, nope, no double decoding. So I left her be, and then I went on a quest to find myself a cipher, which if you can see right there, bada bing boom pow, there is one. I'm just gonna speed through this since there's literally nothing going on right here. Okay. Prospector's getting, well, Prospector's trying to save, I think, because Puppeteer's getting kited. He got hit. I'm decoding. I sent a letter to Puppeteer earlier on. I sent him Inspiring, which probably should have been Farewell, but I mean, they're not exactly the same thing, but they are the same thing. It's kind of hard to explain. And I'm almost positive she got cheered near me, so I'm just gonna, literally nothing that interesting happens for the next couple of minutes. I save and run away, and then I go to another area, and I send out a letter. I don't know what I sent. I sent urgent to encourage her to run. There she goes. She teleports to me. And I do a really bad kite, by the way. I should not have dropped that pallet right there. But you know what? That's okay. I have a better example later on. You should always look behind you, by the way. I just kind of streamline. I tell them to rescue, and then I start looking behind me, and I try to avoid going between pallets because she can easily get a statue on those. You know, just bink, bink, bink. I kind of got sandwiched right there. I keep moving on. Try to avoid her downing me for as long as I can, because I can't throw a wick. Weave. Weave. Not a weave. I want y'all to watch this right now, though. I'm not trying to make fun of her, but she goes ahead and chairs me, right? While Puppeteer is coding right there, right? Look. Look at this madness. Look at this madness. She leaves while he's next to me on the cipher. Now, I don't think nothing too interesting happens here, but what I do end up doing is sending a letter to little girl, I believe. It is urgent. Nope, it is farewell. Because she's kiting right now. And she probably already used her knee jerk from the looks of it. So she's gonna go there and drop the pallet, I believe. Nope. She's gonna vault. Her knee jerk gets used. She probably already used her farewell. But yeah, I get healed. It's all fun and dandy. I tell them to focus on the coding, and we do everything boom bop biddy bop boom. I'm almost at 30 minutes, so I'm just gonna go ahead and show the other match. Unfortunately, I can't really find the match I'm looking for, but I do have a recording of it back from like a few weeks ago. This is when I played against a Naiad. I was hoping I'd find the one for Geisha, but by 5 separate kite. But I didn't. But it's on another video, and that's okay. But yeah, Naiad was trying to creep up on me and stuff. There she is in all her glory. I looped kind of stupid here. This is back when I was really bad at looping. I don't know why I dipped back right there. But over time, I began to learn as I played Survivor with my friend. And I'm aiming Wick right there. You see how it slows her down for a little bit? I don't know why I'm looping near chair, but this is like literally the only thing I could really find aside from the video I already posted. Bink, weave. Later on down the line, for some reason I got insta-rescued. And I stunned her. And yeah, I have Inspiring on me, so I decide I should probably go for the vault if possible. And I pop Urgent on me. And then I proc my knee jerk, which gives me a pretty insane amount of speed. I'm not gonna lie to you. You should see Urgent with a, oh yeah, I do have the video. I'll show you Urgent combined with a Cypher Pop speed boost. Because that's actually insane. But yeah, I'm trying to cheese her right here. I want to confuse her the best I can. I'm gonna drop it in front of her. And then she goes to break it. I keep on messing around with her until she gets annoyed. I use that to slow her hit down so she doesn't end up getting me. That was really close too, by the way. I gotta say. Also, I'm pretty sure she had blink here. She just didn't blink directly to me. I stunned her and went along my way. I probably sent a letter right here. There's dungeon at that corner. And then at that point, we're just kind of playing Ring Around the Rosie. I pop Urgent on me again, and then she teleports away. Yippee, fun day. This is also an equally stupid video. I got down right here, and we got the Cypher Pop. Look where I pop when I pop Urgent. I'll go back for you. I got down. Like, someone popped Urgent. I mean, popped Cypher. I popped Urgent. And that amount of speed I got in that second. I basically got flywheel type speed in like 2 seconds. And I had looped her for like 5 Cyphers in this match, by the way. So when I had Volta right here, she was like, nah, I'm tired of you. I'm gonna go teleport to the other exit gate. It was so funny. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. And if you have any questions, I will link up in the video. So, goodbye.
This is a certified classic.